What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over several tips to hopefully help you win when the Stick of Truth spawns in Fortnite Chapter 7. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like to see more, comment down below what you think of the Stick of Truth, and if you guys would like to use my code in the item shop when getting anything, it is EvolveJake, just like my channel name is, and it is underneath the webcam at all times. So if you guys were unaware, what the Stick of Truth is, it is a rift anomaly that has a chance to spawn. It's not guaranteed. The spawn rate doesn't seem very high, but it is a rift anomaly. And when this happens, the Stick of Truth will be marked on the map for everybody. And then you have to go there and pick it up. When the Stick of Truth is activated, the storm will now close on the location where the player activated it rather than it being random. And also once activated, the storm will close much faster than normal. And this should be in the game until I believe February 5th, because that is when the South Park pass is set to end. And once the stick is marked on your map, I would like to kind of ping where it is on the map. That way, if someone picks it up before I'm able to get there, I still know like where it spawned, because oftentimes the player who got it may still be over there. And a lot of other enemies will be in that area as well. So I kind of like to just leave the marker to know where the stick spawned. Regardless if you want to get the stick or not, I think it's best to try to get where it spawned as quick as possible, because as I said, the storm moves much faster once this is activated, and more often than not, the player who gets it will activate it somewhat nearby where it spawned. Like some people might take it to the complete other side of the map, but most people are going to get it, look at where they are, and then say, what is the nearest area to here that I would like to activate it? Then they'll go there and activate it. So even if it isn't directly on the location where it was taken, it's probably somewhat nearby. So I think you want to get there regardless, even if you aren't going to be able to get it. Like, like I'm pretty far. You still want to get to that general area, I think. You don't want to be very far away, because the storm starts moving very fast when activated. And if you're already super far, it's going to be very hard for you to, make it to the right area. So I make it a priority to get there as fast as I can, and ideally before anyone else, because at that point you have several options for how the game is going to play out. If you're there before anybody else, you could take it right away and then go somewhere and activate it. You could bait it and try to eliminate enemy players as they're going for it, capitalizing on the chaos and the distraction the stick creates to thin out the lobby and make the game easier for yourself. Or if you really hate how the Stick of Truth makes the game play, you could just take it and then hide it somewhere, maybe go into the storm with it and drop it in hopes that nobody gets it later on. Expect a lot of players in the area though, because as I said, it's something that a lot of people want to get, and even if they don't want to get it, they're heavily incentivized to go there. So keep your guard up for enemy players in the area and don't tunnel vision on the stick too much. And if you are fighting in the area around where the stick has spawned, expect third parties to be on the way, because everyone is drawn to that area. If someone does pick it up before you and you eliminate them before they're able to activate it, it will drop from their inventory just like how any other item would. It just takes an inventory slot. And once the stick is activated, there will be an icon on the ground and a blue beam coming up from it into the sky, so everybody knows where the new zone is actually going to be. I think so. Now that's just like the basic advice. We're going to get into what you want to do once you get it, or what you want to do when an enemy gets it. So if you get the stick and you want to activate it, as I said, you can just hide it somewhere. But if you want to activate it, it's best to take it to an area that is somewhat defendable. I've seen some people basically just activate it right where they got it or very close to where they got it, and I don't think this is a good idea. You want to make it somewhere that it's going to be easier for you to defend, because once you activate it, everybody in the lobby is going to be rushing you. I've typically somewhere on edge of zone would also be best, because then you don't have to worry about that angle as much. Whereas if you're more centered when you activate it, you have to worry about all 360 degrees around you. And that's just going to make it harder for you to defend, and more likely that some people slip through. So going to what is already the edge of storm cuts off a lot of like locations that you're going to have to worry about. And like a big mountain, like some of the snow mountains also have very limited ways up to you, and that is another thing that can, just cut off the angles that you really have to look at. You do still have to worry about the sky and stuff because of the wingsuit, but having your back already be storm makes it much easier to defend. Some people also like to take it out into the ocean with bunkers. That way it's a huge struggle for anyone to get to them at all, and anyone pushing them will also be very exposed. They have to either swim, waste bunkers just for a little bit, maybe drive a car or wingsuit, and all of these things do make you somewhat exposed when trying to push it. And then the ocean also has the thing I talked about where their back is already going to be storm, so they don't have to worry about that angle as much. Taking it into the ocean seems to be the most kind of OP thing you can do, provided you do have bunkers. And as I said earlier, typically the area it spawns will be pretty hot with a lot of players going towards it. So activating the stick a decent distance away from that will also make it harder for enemies to get to you. Once you get the stick and you're safe, you don't really have to rush activating it too much because it's not like you're marked for anybody else. So you can take it completely across the map, and as long as you don't get eliminated before then, you're good to go. Especially if you have something like a car or a wingsuit, makes it easier for you to distance yourself from the spawn point, and that's where a lot of people will already be. So it'll be easy if you get it far from there. It should make it just harder for everyone to rotate in. And then also waiting for the lobby to die out a bit, if the lobby is pretty healthy, may be another thing that makes it easier for you to defend wherever you activated it, because now you have less people pushing you. Again, you don't need to be in a huge rush to activate it. You do have time to play with. You're not marked on the map or anything when it's in your inventory. And I think that's something that a lot of people seem to not think about. Like, they get the rush of getting the stick and then they just want to do it as fast as possible. But doing like that time you waste makes it harder for everyone else, I think. If an enemy activates the stick, the first thing you need to do is figure out where it was activated by looking for that blue beam that I talked about. Hopefully you were already kind of getting somewhere near where it spawned, and if you're lucky, the person activated it somewhat nearby, and so you should be able to find it that way. But they likely did do a lot of what I already outlined above. So like they probably took it to somewhere defendable. They maybe took it to the ocean. They maybe took it far away. But I think being somewhat close to where it spawned makes it the easiest for you to locate. You just don't want to be super slow and waste a lot of time like not really doing anything, because once the stick is activated, I believe the zone closes in like 5 minutes. The game is going to be over from 5 minutes from when it was activated. And so you need to be on top of this. Having something like cars or the wingsuit, again, will hopefully help you traverse the map faster and get to the area where the stick was activated. The other players are still threats, though. Don't tunnel vision too much on just the stick or let your guard down, because that can make it easy for enemies to eliminate you. If you've played Delulu at all, once you kind of turn your back on somebody or let your guard down, that's often when they attack. So focus on the other players too. They are still threats. You do still need to eliminate them to win. Not saying you can't fight back, but you do need to worry about getting to the area as well. So there's not as much room to waste time here. I see a lot of people tunnel visioning on just like getting to zone, and then they don't even have an opportunity to get there because they're just running out in the open and they're free beam. Cheesy poofs can also be really helpful in the fights that kind of happen in the end game around the stick area, because the storm closes in, hitting you for white health, and it does hit. I think it's a 5 tick automatically, so it hits pretty hard. But the cheesy poofs is a great white health or green health, your regular HP healing item. Typically, it's not something I really care that much about, but in the Stick of Truth games, it's super helpful and gives you more time to kind of play in the storm and make some sneaky plays or heal in the storm if you need to. Heal when running out of the storm. So if you are kind of trying to get over there and maybe you're lacking on heals and you see some cheesy poofs, those do kind of like rise in priority for me once the stick has been activated. And a lot of times the fights in this area are really chaotic because the one player who activated it is trying to defend it against everybody else. And so you can capitalize on that chaos if needed. You don't need to just run directly at the blue beam, especially if you have time to play with. Like, you see where the back of storm is and you see where you are and you know you have time to play with. You might want to just kind of hang out in the area nearby and see if somebody starts fighting the person who activated it, or other people kind of make it chaotic and make that an opportunity for you to like capitalize on. Whether you activate it or not, I think it's very important to pay attention to enemies potentially respawning who had the Kenny respawn token, because normally when people respawn with this, unless it's like very late in the game, they don't always respawn like directly on you. But since the stick makes the zone close much faster. Typically, you're going to have a small zone. And so those people respawning with the Kenny medallion might just land directly on you, even if you're not the one who activated it. Like, let's say you're hanging out in the area, maybe you put a bunker and you're kind of waiting for your opportunity to hop on. That player who respawning might just land on you. So keep your eyes peeled for something like that. Also, having visual audio on and seeing the people gliding on that can make it easier to kind of know what's happening. And also, one thing I want to talk about, just because I've seen comments about this, the storm does not care about verticality. So I've seen some people say they want to take it into the classified canyon POI down in the bottom area, because then everybody will have to go down there. But the storm doesn't care. Like, the storm mostly just cares about the x-axis, not the y-axis. So if you're hiding down there, there could be players up top that are still in the safe area, but y'all just can't actually fight each other, and then that would make like a heal off situation. And maybe that's what you want to do, and you take it down there and you plan for the heal off, and you know, amass a bunch of heals down there before you activate it. That's maybe something you could do, but don't expect to activate it somewhere like underground and then think that everybody needs to run down there to actually fight you. The storm goes up into Affinity and down into Affinity. It's just a circular area, and I feel like if you played the game for a while, you probably know that, but I've seen a decent amount of confusion around this topic. The players who don't activate the stick are all reacting, and there wasn't as much for me to talk about there. It's much harder for the person who has the stick activated on them than the person who activates it, if the person who activates it sets their game up right. So I think you are best off trying to get it and activate it, or trying to get it and hide it, rather than just not caring about it at all and letting other people activate it. If you activate it or you hide it, you're kind of controlling the pace of the game and controlling the outcome of the game to an extent. Whereas the people who don't have it activated or who don't get it and activate it are just reacting. So I think it's best to be proactive when it comes to this. Even if you hate it and you just want to bait the area and eliminate anyone who goes for it and then hide it, that's definitely valid. But I think you want to be involved in that area. So that is just summary. I talked about that earlier, but I wanted to end the video with that as well. As always, if you guys did find this to be helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.